This may seem pretty unusual, but there are several things that motivate me to be a better Christian as a result of reading Charles Darwin's autobiography. Not very long, really, really interesting autobiography. Um, his love for his family was consistent. The way he heaped praise on his wife, his kids, wonderful. He was also very focused on his work, so much so that he was willing to give up. He loved to hunt. In fact, he used to say that he would, the night before a hunt, he would have his shoes and all the stuff out so that he was ready to go first thing in the morning on a hunt, but he was willing to give that up because he wanted to focus more on science. He also, which is interesting, that whenever there was a published statement, a fact, as he called it, that seemed to be at odds with his theory, he would immediately write it down and capture it because he knew that the things that were at odds with what he was saying, his theory and all, would be things that he would tend psychologically to forget, and he didn't want to forget them. He wanted to remember them as legitimate critiques of his work. So it's a great example of how to handle your critics, and obviously this is before the age of the internet, but really interesting that he would write those things down that were most critical of his theories, so to make sure that he captured them. But his zeal for his subject is just amazing, and I'll just read this one section here, and he calls it proof of his zeal. That one day he's tearing off the bark of a tree, and he saw two beetles, and so he puts one in each hand. Then he saw a third and new kind of beetle, which he could not bear to lose, so that I popped the one which I had in my right hand into my mouth. That's impressive to begin with. Also, alas, it ejected some intensely acrid fluid which burnt my tongue so that I was forced to spit the beetle out, which was lost, as well as the third one. So that kind of intense focus, that kind of really willingness to go to just the umpteenth length to get the information he wanted is very motivating as a Christian.